If I told you that the strength in your legs could begin to return not through pills or intense exercise, but through the way you eat, move, and time your choices, would you give your body a second chance? Because what's holding you back may not be aging, but a lack of connection, nourishment, and rhythm within. In this journey, we'll uncover why leg weakness often has little to do with age, how your nerves and muscles fall out of sync, and how simple nutrients like leucine and choline can reignite the body's natural repair systems. We'll explore how beetroot enhances blood flow, how leafy greens quietly reduce inflammation, and why when you eat may matter as much as what you eat. We'll paint the picture of an ideal breakfast that sets your system into motion and reveal why your muscle mass is one of the most powerful indicators of health, vitality, and independence. Let's begin. In fact, many people in their 60s and 70s still have enough muscle to move well, but those muscles aren't being activated properly. That's the real problem. Let's make this easy to understand. Imagine your muscles are a team of workers, and your brain is the boss. The boss gives orders through a loudspeaker, but if the battery in that loudspeaker runs low, the workers don't hear the instructions. That loudspeaker is your nervous system. And the battery, it's the nutrients, blood flow, and signals that keep it powered. One of the first issues is signal loss. Starting around age 50, the nerves that carry movement, commands to your muscles, called motor neurons, begin to slow down. But here's what matters. Your muscles aren't gone. They're just not getting the message to move. This is called neural disconnection, and it's one of the most common hidden causes of leg weakness in older adults. How can you tell if this is happening to you? Signs include feeling unstable when standing, legs tiring quickly even after light activity, or needing your arms to push yourself out of a chair. These aren't just signs of getting old, they're signs your nervous system needs support. Now let's talk about solutions, starting with breakfast. One of the most powerful tools is a nutrient called leucine. It's an amino acid, a building block of protein that acts like a switch to wake up your muscles. Studies show that just 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine can trigger muscle repair. That's equal to about 2 eggs and a scoop of Greek yogurt. This combination doesn't just feed your muscles, it sends a message to your body. Let's rebuild. But sending the message isn't enough. The message also has to be delivered. That's where choline comes in. Choline is a nutrient your brain uses to create acetylcholine, a chemical that sends the signal from your brain to your muscles. If your body doesn't have enough choline, the signal weakens, like trying to talk through a broken microphone. The best source of choline, egg yolks. 2 eggs in the morning can help restore this signal within just a few hours. This is why I recommend, within 30 minutes of waking up, eat a breakfast with eggs plus protein, and go for a short 15-minute walk. This simple habit helps reconnect the wires between your brain and your legs. Another key factor is blood flow. Muscles need oxygen and nutrients to work, and that requires healthy circulation. Poor circulation is like watering a garden with a kinked hose. One easy fix: beetroot juice. It contains nitrates that turn into nitric oxide in your body, which helps open your blood vessels. In one study, older adults who drank beet juice had stronger legs within just 3 hours. Just one glass, 250-300 milliliters before activity, can make a difference. Now, let's talk about something many people don't feel, but it's hurting them every day: chronic inflammation. This is low-level irritation inside your body that blocks your ability to build strength. It slows down the energy centers of your muscle cells called mitochondria and makes your nervous system sluggish. You can't feel it, but it shows up as fatigue, slow recovery, and reduced balance. The fix: leafy greens like spinach, kale, or mustard greens. They're full of natural anti-inflammatory compounds, like quercetin and chlorophyll. Just 1 cup a day, preferably at breakfast, helps calm inflammation and boost leg performance within 10 to 14 days. And don't forget the timing of your meals. Your body can only use about 30 grams of protein at one time to build muscle. That's why it's better to spread protein throughout the day, not just eat a big steak at dinner. If you aim for 30 grams of protein at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you'll keep your body in a steady state of repair and growth. Pair each protein-rich meal with a little movement, even stretching or walking, and your muscles will absorb nutrients better. So if you feel your legs getting weaker, ask yourself, am I eating the right breakfast? Am I giving my nerves the nutrients they need? Am I moving just enough to spark the system back to life? Weak legs don't mean your time is up. They mean your body is asking for help in ways most people never learn to recognize. The good news is, once you give it the right tools, leucine, choline, blood flow, anti-inflammatory foods, and timing, your legs can feel stronger again. Not years from now, but starting this week. Imagine a quiet street in your neighborhood. The homes are intact, the roads are paved, and the lights are still on, but for some reason, no one's moving, no cars, no conversations, just silence. That's exactly what happens inside your body when your nervous system stops communicating clearly with your muscles. Everything is still physically there: your legs, your muscle fibers, your strength, but the command to move never arrives. The street goes quiet. This is not muscle loss. This is neural disconnection. When we think about weakness in the legs, we often picture shrinking muscles or stiff joints. But what if I told you that in many older adults, the real issue is not in the muscles themselves, but in the signal system that tells them what to do? Your brain sends instructions through the spinal cord and into motor nerves, which end at special sites in your muscles called neuromuscular junctions. These junctions are like tiny doorbells. They receive a chemical signal from your nerves, called acetylcholine, and in response, your muscle contracts. But when that doorbell stops working properly, the message doesn't get through. Studies show that starting in your 40s and 50s, the motor neurons that carry these signals start to shrink or even die off, not because you're sick, but because they're underused and undernourished. This process is slow, almost invisible, but over time, it shows up in your daily life. Your balance falters. Your walking speed drops. Your ability to rise from a chair becomes harder than it should be. A 2020 study using EMG electromyography showed that many people who feel leg weakness still have normal muscle mass. The problem is in the timing and strength of the signal between the nervous system and the muscle. It's not that the muscle can't move, it just isn't being asked to. And even when it is, the signal is faint, like a whisper in a crowded room. This is why some people feel their legs hesitate, wobble, or lag even though they're eating well and staying active. So what weakens this connection? There are 3 big factors: poor nutrition, chronic inflammation, and lack of stimulation. If you don't feed your nervous system the nutrients it needs, things like choline for acetylcholine production, or B vitamins for nerve energy, the communication line weakens. If inflammation builds up in the body, it damages the protective coating around nerves, known as the myelin sheath, which acts like the insulation on electrical wires. And if you're not moving regularly, especially with activities that challenge balance and coordination, the brain slowly reduces its investment in those motor pathways. But here's the hopeful part. These pathways can be rebuilt, like repairing a broken phone line. You just need to reconnect the wires. Start with breakfast. Eating 2 whole eggs gives you a healthy dose of choline, which helps rebuild acetylcholine levels, the chemical messenger your brain uses to speak to your muscles. Pair that with a short walk, even 10 to 15 minutes to signal the nervous system that it needs to send instructions again. These actions might seem small, but they are actually neural exercises, retraining the system to communicate. Another powerful tool is targeted movement exercises like slow marching in place, heel to toe walking, or standing balance drills while brushing your teeth. These stimulate not just the muscles, but the brain regions that control coordination, such as the cerebellum and motor cortex. The more you challenge your nervous system to direct your muscles in real time, the stronger that connection becomes. Even how you sit matters. Prolonged sitting compresses nerves in your hips and reduces blood flow to your lower limbs. I tell patients, if you sit for 30 minutes, stand for 1. Simple changes like this restore circulation and remind the nervous system to stay alert. Your nervous system is like a conversation stop talking, and the other side forgets how to respond. But keep talking, keep moving, keep feeding it well, and the connection comes alive again. After understanding how your brain can lose its voice and your muscles forget how to listen, the next question becomes, how do we help them reconnect, not just electrically, but biologically? And more importantly, how do we help those quiet, unresponsive muscles regain their ability to act? The answer starts with something deceptively small, an amino acid called leucine. Leucine isn't just one nutrient among many. It plays a very specific role in signaling your body to repair and rebuild muscle tissue. While most people think of protein as fuel, what they don't realize is that not all proteins are created equal, and not all proteins trigger growth. Leucine is the signal caller. It doesn't just supply material to your muscle, it tells your body what to do with it. You see, when you consume protein, your body breaks it down into amino acids. But unless enough leucine is present, typically around 2.5 to 3 grams, in a single meal, your body may fail to initiate muscle protein synthesis, the process that actually repairs and strengthens muscle fibers. This is especially true as we age, because of a phenomenon known as anabolic resistance, where the muscles become less responsive to normal levels of amino acids. That means what worked at age 30 is no longer enough at age 65. Let's keep it simple. Leucine activates a pathway in your cells known as mTOR, a kind of cellular control center that decides when to start rebuilding tissue. If mTOR isn't turned on, your body won't make new muscle, even if you're consuming plenty of protein overall. And for many older adults, this is where things quietly begin to break down. They eat enough, they move enough, but they still feel weaker. Why? Because they're not consuming the right kind of protein at the right time, and in the right dose to trigger this biological repair mechanism. Take breakfast, for example. Many older adults start their day with toast, fruit, or oatmeal, healthy on the surface, but very low in leucine. By contrast, 2 eggs and a serving of Greek yogurt or whey protein. Isolate provides enough leucine to cross the threshold and stimulate mTOR. This isn't just about nutrition, it's about restarting communication between your nervous system and your muscles at the molecular level. What makes leucine even more interesting is its timing sensitivity. Right after waking, your body is in a state of low neurotransmitter and hormone activity. This makes the first meal of the day an ideal opportunity to reset the system. If that first meal contains leucine, rich protein, your body not only fuels itself, it also begins to reactivate dormant neuromuscular connections by triggering muscle repair in areas most affected by inactivity: the legs, hips, and core. And here's something practical. Leucine works even better when paired with movement. A short walk after breakfast, some light resistance exercises, or even dynamic stretching helps create a reason for your body to use the signal. The muscles become more sensitive to the leucine trigger when there is a demand. Without movement, The signal may still be heard, but it won't be acted upon as strongly. Movement gives context to the biochemical instruction. It's also important to understand which foods provide high-quality leucine. The richest sources include whey protein, eggs, chicken, fish, and low-fat dairy. For those on plant-based diets, it becomes a bit more challenging, but tempeh, soy protein isolate, and quinoa can be strategically used to reach the same threshold, though often in larger amounts or with more careful meal planning. In short, leucine isn't just a nutrient, it's an activator. It picks up where your nervous system left off. Once your brain and muscles are ready to reconnect, leucine makes sure the system doesn't just talk, but also listens and responds. And this molecular conversation is often the missing link in the journey from leg weakness to renewed strength. Once your muscles are finally receiving the message to grow, thanks to leucine, the next step is ensuring the message actually arrives. That message travels along a delicate, high-speed highway between your brain and your muscles. And at the very end of that highway is a tiny chemical messenger, one of the most important for movement, called acetylcholine. Without it, your muscles won't move. They won't contract, they won't respond. They simply wait. And this is where choline comes in. Choline is the nutritional precursor your body uses to make acetylcholine. In simpler terms, choline is the ingredient your brain needs to produce the very signal that tells your muscles what to do. Without enough of it, your neuromuscular system becomes sluggish, your reaction time slows, and your sense of balance becomes unstable. It's like having a powerful speaker with a faulty microphone. The intention to speak is there, but the signal doesn't go through clearly. This loss of signal clarity is subtle at first. You might feel like your legs take an extra second to wake up when you stand. You might miss a step, or notice your foot doesn't quite lift as high as it used to. These are early signs of what researchers call neurotransmission fatigue, a state where the body has enough muscle, even enough strength, but lacks the spark to activate it consistently. This is not muscle weakness from atrophy. This is communication failure. As we age, our ability to produce acetylcholine declines naturally, especially in the motor neurons that connect to large muscle groups like the legs. But research shows this can be reversed, or at least improved significantly, by restoring choline intake through diet. The richest and most bioavailable source of choline, egg yolks. Just 2 whole eggs provide over 300 milliliters of choline, enough to noticeably increase acetylcholine levels within a few hours, especially if consumed first thing in the morning when your neurotransmitter levels are at their lowest after sleep. This is exactly what I recommended to a patient named Evelyn, age 69, who had been struggling with unsteady steps and occasional tremors. Her tests showed normal strength, but mild delays in motor response. We added 2 eggs to her morning routine, alongside a high leucine protein, and encouraged her to take a short walk afterward. By the end of the 2nd week, she said something had changed. I feel like my body is listening to me again. What she was describing, without knowing it, was the return of neuromuscular responsiveness. But eggs aren't the only way. For those avoiding animal products, quinoa, soybeans, and Brussels sprouts also contain choline, though in lower amounts. You may need to consume more volume, or combine plant-based sources strategically to reach similar benefits. And keep in mind, fat helps your body absorb choline more effectively. That's why pairing eggs with a little avocado or olive oil can enhance the effect. Choline doesn't just affect muscle movement. Acetylcholine is also essential for memory, learning, and focus, which is why restoring its levels often brings surprising cognitive improvements too. Some of my patients report sharper thinking, better word recall, and improved mood after just 10 to 14 days of consistent choline intake. Another layer to consider is timing. Right after you wake up, your nervous system is still resetting. This is the window when choline is most needed to restock your neurotransmitters and prepare the body to move. Timed breakfast isn't just fuel, it's a reset button for your coordination, reaction speed, and muscle control. Choline is, in many ways, the bridge between intention and action. While leucine builds the structure of the body, choline restores its command center. Without it, your muscles may be strong, but unresponsive. With it, they become precise, stable, and engaged, not just capable of movement, but ready for it. By now, you understand that for your muscles to function well, two things must happen. The signal must be sent, and the signal must be received. But even when both are working, there's still one more essential ingredient your body needs to carry out the movement circulation. Because what good is a message if the road it travels on is blocked? That's where beetroot comes in. Not as a supplement, not as a trendy superfood, but as a scientifically backed ally in restoring blood flow, especially to the legs. As we age, the blood vessels that nourish our lower limbs gradually lose their flexibility. The walls become stiffer, and the small arteries in the legs, especially those serving the calves, knees, and feet, struggle to open fully during activity. This reduces oxygen delivery, slows nutrient transport, and impairs the removal of waste products. The result: legs that feel heavy, slow, or tired even after minimal exertion. Some describe it as walking through sand. Others feel a tightness or dull ache that isn't quite pain, but is clearly holding them back. Now, here's the science made simple. Inside your blood vessels are special cells called endothelial cells, and their job is to release a molecule called nitric oxide. No, nitric oxide is what tells your blood vessels to relax and widen, a process known as vasodilation. When vasodilation happens, more blood flows through, more oxygen reaches your muscles, and more waste is cleared out. But nitric oxide production declines with age unless you feed it. Beetroot, especially in raw or juiced form, is rich in natural nitrates. When you consume these nitrates, your body converts them into nitric oxide. In a 2006 15 study published in the Journal of Applied Physiology, older adults who drank beetroot juice saw a significant increase in leg strength and muscular power within just 3 hours, particularly in fast-bummed twitch muscle fibers, which are crucial for balance, quick reactions, and preventing falls. One of my patients, Thomas, age 74, had trouble walking upstairs. His legs would tire halfway, and he often needed to pull himself up using the handrail. After adding 250 milliliters of beetroot juice to his morning routine, ideally about 90 minutes before physical activity, his energy and leg drive noticeably improved. "It's not just that I can move more," he told me. "It's that I want to move again." That's the power of circulation. It brings not only strength, but motivation. To make this work for you, the process is straightforward. First, aim to drink 1 small glass of beetroot juice, about 250 to 300 ml, or eat 1-2 medium raw or roasted beets around 60 to 90 minutes before light exercise. Then go for a 15-minute walk, gentle cycling, or stretching. Movement itself also increases nitric oxide, so pairing both together gives you a double boost. It's like unclogging the hose and turning up the water pressure. Some people worry about the natural sugars in beets, but because the glycemic load is moderate and the benefits to circulation so significant, the overall effect is overwhelmingly positive, especially when consumed before activity, if needed. Pairing beetroot juice with a small portion of protein or fiber, like chia seeds or a boiled egg, can stabilize your blood sugar response. Beets are also rich in antioxidants, folate, and potassium, supporting overall cardiovascular health beyond just the legs. And because nitric oxide also improves brain circulation, some patients report feeling clearer and more alert after regular beetroot use, a bonus effect that supports both movement and mental sharpness. Beetroot doesn't force your body to do anything unnatural. It simply gives your blood vessels the raw material to do what they're meant to do: open up, flow freely, and nourish every step you take. You've now seen how nutrients like leucine can trigger muscle growth, how choline restores neuromuscular signals, and how beetroot opens the blood vessels to deliver oxygen and energy where it's needed most. But there's a silent enemy working behind the scenes, one that quietly erodes all your progress if left unchecked. It doesn't hurt, it doesn't shout, but it slowly dims your strength, your stability, and your ability to recover. That enemy is chronic low-grade inflammation. And one of the most powerful natural ways to calm it is found not in a pill bottle but in a simple handful of dark, leafy greens. Let's make this clear. Inflammation itself is not bad. It's your body's natural way of healing from injury or infection. That's called acute inflammation, and it's fast, focused, and short-lived. But chronic inflammation is different. It's like a constant background hum, too quiet to notice, but always on. And over time, it interferes with almost every system that keeps your body strong. In the context of your legs, chronic inflammation damages muscle fibers, disrupts mitochondrial function, the tiny energy factories inside your cells, and blunts the communication between your nerves and muscles. Even more concerning, it increases the presence of inflammatory markers in your blood, like CRPC reactive protein and IL-6 interleukin 6. Elevated levels of these markers have been directly linked to weaker leg strength, slower walking speed, and greater fall risk in older adults, even in people who appear otherwise healthy. Now, here's the empowering part. Your daily meals can either fuel this fire or put it out. And some of the best inflammation-fighting tools you can use come straight from the garden: spinach, kale, arugula, mustard greens, Swiss chard, and similar leafy vegetables. These plants are rich in polyphenols, natural plant compounds that act like firefighters in the body. One polyphenol in particular, called quercetin, has been shown in multiple studies to reduce IL-6 and TNF-VA, another inflammation trigger that interferes with muscle regeneration. But that's not all. Leafy greens also provide chlorophyll, which supports cellular detoxification, magnesium, which calms the nervous system, and nitrate compounds, which boost circulation, much like beetroot. Together, they help create an internal environment that favors repair instead of breakdown. I had a patient named Ruth, age 76, who came to me frustrated. She wasn't in pain exactly, just tired, stiff, and slow to recover after walking or doing housework. We added a new rule to her morning routine: 1 cup of leafy greens with breakfast, every day. Sometimes sautéed spinach with eggs, other times a kale smoothie with avocado and lemon. After 2 weeks, she said something that stuck with me. "It feels like my legs are waking up again." That's not coincidence, that's biology. When inflammation is reduced, your mitochondria produce more energy, your nerves conduct signals faster, and your muscles respond better to movement and repair. You don't just feel less stiffness, you feel more alive. For best results, try combining your greens with a small amount of healthy fat like olive oil, avocado, or a few walnuts. This helps your body absorb fat, soluble nutrients like vitamin K, beta-carotene, and other antioxidants found in the greens. Adding a splash of lemon juice or apple cider vinegar can also enhance digestion and nutrient absorption, especially helpful for older adults whose stomach acid may be lower. Unlike over-the-counter anti-inflammatories, greens don't block pain temporarily. They work at a deeper level, regulating your immune response, restoring tissue balance, and allowing your muscles and nerves to operate in a calmer, more stable environment. They're not flashy, but over days and weeks, their effects accumulate, not just reducing inflammation, but reclaiming energy, rebuilding strength, and giving your legs the quiet support they've been waiting for. By now, you've discovered how specific nutrients like leucine, choline, and nitrates can switch your muscles back on, restore neural signals, and boost circulation. But there's one final piece to the puzzle that often goes unnoticed, even by those who eat well and move regularly. That piece is timing. Because when it comes to restoring leg strength, what you eat matters, but when you eat, it can make the difference between a body that rebuilds and a body that simply maintains. Let's go back to the basics. Every time you eat a meal that contains protein, your body has a chance to activate muscle protein synthesis, the biological process of repairing and building new muscle tissue. But this process doesn't stay on all day. It's triggered in bursts, and each burst requires both enough protein and a timely signal. If the meal doesn't hit the right threshold, or if it's spaced too far from physical activity, the signal weakens, and muscle rebuilding slows. This becomes especially important with age. Older adults experience what researchers call anabolic resistance, a condition where the body becomes less responsive to normal protein intake. It's like needing to speak louder to be heard. This means that instead of one large meal with most of your day's protein, typically dinner, your body benefits far more from distributing protein evenly across 3 meals. A landmark study from the University of Texas in 2014 showed that when older adults ate around 30 grams of protein at breakfast, lunch, and dinner instead of front, loading it all at night, their muscle protein synthesis increased by 25%. That's a massive gain without adding a single gram of extra protein. It's just time better. Why is breakfast especially important? Because after 8 to 10 hours of overnight fasting, your body is in a catabolic state, meaning it's breaking down tissue for energy. This is the ideal time to send a build signal. Yet, many older adults skip breakfast or eat something light like toast or fruit meals that don't contain enough protein to stimulate muscle repair. If you start your day with a strong dose of high-quality protein, such as 2 eggs, a scoop of whey, or a serving of Greek yogurt, you flip that morning switch and give your muscles a reason to grow. And the benefits multiply when you combine that protein-rich meal with movement. Even a short 15-minute walk after breakfast enhances nutrient uptake by increasing blood flow to muscles and making cells more receptive to amino acids. This is called taking advantage of the anabolic window, the 30 to 60 minutes post-exercise, when your muscles are most hungry for nutrients. You don't need intense workouts. A simple routine of walking, stretching, or light resistance work is enough to send the right message to your body. Timing also affects hormone regulation. Eating protein in the morning can support healthier insulin response, promote better appetite control throughout the day, and even influence your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that governs recovery, alertness, and energy. In contrast, consuming most of your calories at night, especially if you've been sedentary, often leads to inefficient protein use, slower digestion, and reduced muscle stimulation. Even dinner matters. While it's tempting to save the biggest meal for last, your muscles can only use about 30 to 40 grams of protein at a time for repair. The rest is either stored as energy or broken down. This is why piling on a large protein, heavy dinner can be less effective than spreading the same amount across the day in smaller, consistent signals. So when we say you are what you eat, we should also say you are when you eat. Because just as your nervous system and muscles rely on the right nutrients, they also rely on rhythm, a consistent pattern of nutrition and movement that reinforces their connection. And when that rhythm is restored, strength doesn't just return, it becomes a part of your daily momentum. After exploring how timing, nutrients, and circulation all shape the strength and responsiveness of your legs, we arrive at the most practical and often overlooked piece of the journey: your breakfast. Not just any breakfast, but the first opportunity of the day to signal to your body: today, we build. Today, we move. For older adults, this meal sets the tone not just for energy levels, but for neuromuscular recovery, inflammation control, and mental clarity. Let's start with what we often see in the real world: toast with jam, a banana, maybe a cup of tea or coffee. While these are familiar and comforting choices, they're low in protein, low in key nutrients like leucine and choline, and offer little to no support for muscle activation. This kind of breakfast gives you calories, yes, but it doesn't communicate with your body. It doesn't say, let's repair, let's connect, let's strengthen. So what does the ideal breakfast look like for someone over 60, especially someone looking to regain leg strength, balance, and vitality? It starts with protein, and not just any protein, but protein rich in leucine. Leucine is the amino acid we discussed earlier that flips the internal switch for muscle building. Your target should be around 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein, which typically delivers the 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine needed to trigger muscle protein synthesis. This could be as simple as 2 whole eggs, 1 scoop of whey protein, isolate mixed into a smoothie, cup of Greek yogurt. These options don't just feed your muscles, they activate them. But protein is only part of the equation. You also need to support the nervous system, and that's where choline comes in. Found in egg yolks, choline helps your body produce acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter responsible for sending movement commands from your brain to your legs. This is especially important in the morning, when acetylcholine levels are naturally at their lowest after sleep. Including 2 whole eggs, not just the whites, provides enough choline to restore that signal and reawaken your neuromuscular reflexes. Next, we turn to leafy greens. Yes, at breakfast. Just 1 cup of sautéed spinach, kale, or mustard greens added to your eggs or blended into a smoothie brings in polyphenols, magnesium, and anti-inflammatory compounds like quercetin, which help reduce chronic low-grade inflammation, one of the biggest hidden contributors to declining leg function. Greens also provide nitrate compounds, subtly boosting circulation alongside beetroot, if included. Speaking of beetroot, adding a small glass about 250 milliliters of beet juice, or even a spoonful of beet powder to your smoothie, enhances blood flow, oxygen delivery, and nutrient transport. When combined with movement, even a gentle 10-minute walk, this supports the morning surge in nitric oxide, helping your legs feel more energized and capable. To pull it all together, include a healthy fat like a few slices of avocado, a drizzle of olive oil on your greens, or a handful of walnuts. These fats improve the absorption of fat, soluble nutrients like vitamin K, beta-carotene, and help stabilize blood sugar throughout the morning. For example, here's one ideal breakfast plate: 2 eggs, scrambled with olive oil and spinach, a side of Greek yogurt with berries and hemp seeds, a small glass of beetroot juice, green tea or warm lemon water, or, if you prefer something blended, a smoothie with whey protein, frozen banana, beet powder, spinach, avocado, and almond milk. This is not just a meal. It's a message to your entire body. It says, we're rebuilding muscle. We're restoring nerve function. We're turning off the inflammatory noise. And by sending that message within the first hour of waking, you set yourself up for better movement, sharper focus, and steadier energy all day long. Because breakfast isn't just about starting the day, it's about telling your body what kind of day it's going to be. After understanding how nutrients, timing, and daily choices influence your strength. It's time to step back and see the bigger picture. Because what we often think of as just muscle, as something superficial, cosmetic, or only relevant in gyms is actually far more important than we've been told. In older adults especially, muscle is not just a tool for movement. It is a vital sign, a living, breathing indicator of your metabolic health, resilience, independence, and even your lifespan. Think about it. When a person is hospitalized, what do doctors worry about after a few days in bed? Muscle loss. Why? Because muscle isn't just tissue. It's a reservoir of amino acids, a glucose regulator, a mobility engine, and a protective shield against falls, fractures, and even chronic disease. The term we use in clinical medicine for severe muscle loss is sarcopenia, and it is now recognized as a predictor of mortality, not just frailty. Here's what that means in simpler terms. The amount and quality of muscle you maintain, especially in your legs, can tell us how well your immune system will respond to illness, how quickly you'll recover from injury, and how independently you'll live 5 or 10 years from now. In fact, studies show that older adults with higher leg muscle mass and strength have lower risks of diabetes, osteoporosis, cognitive decline, and hospitalization. Muscle, quite literally, keeps you standing and keeps you alive. But let's go deeper. Muscle is also one of your body's most metabolically active tissues. It helps regulate blood sugar by acting like a sponge for glucose, reducing the strain on your pancreas, and lowering your risk for insulin resistance. It produces myokines, messenger molecules that talk to your brain, your fat tissue, and your immune cells. Some myokines even have anti-inflammatory effects, helping to quiet down the chronic low-grade inflammation that we now know accelerates aging from the inside out. And here's something most people don't realize. Muscle also protects your brain. During physical activity, even light walking or bodyweight squats muscles release a myokine called BDNF brain, derived neurotrophic factor, which supports memory, mood, and cognitive function. So when we say that muscle helps you stay sharp, that's not just a motivational slogan, that's neurobiology. In practical terms, this means your body responds to how much you use your muscles. If you move them, you keep them. If you feed them the right nutrients, leucine, protein, omega-3s, and reduce inflammation, they not only stay strong, they stay protective. But if you ignore them, they slowly break down. And unlike fat, which the body easily stores, muscle takes effort and intention to build and maintain, especially after age 60. I once had a patient, Henry, 78, who had been doing daily walks for years. But over time, he noticed his balance faltering and his legs feeling thinner. His diet was light, his protein intake inconsistent. We made a few changes. 3 meals a day with at least 30 grams of protein, regular resistance, base leg exercises like standing from a chair without using hands, and a morning dose of beetroot and choline, rich foods. 3 months later, not only had he regained strength, but his HbA1c, a marker for blood sugar control, had dropped, and he reported sleeping better and thinking more clearly. Because when your muscles are strong, everything else works better. Your heart, your brain, your bones, your balance, your metabolism all rise to meet the foundation that muscle creates. Muscle is not just about movement. It is a currency of survival. And every step you take to nourish and protect it adds value to your life in ways far beyond what you can see in the mirror.